What's up, Live Rype? It's your boy JJ. I'm here at BB&T Ballpark, home of the Charlotte Knights. We're here to interview Sales Director Matt Millward. Let's go.
Hey, I'm Matt Millward with the Charlotte Knights, a Director of Ticket Sales and Operations.
What do you do here for the Knights? I know you're the Director of Sales, but what exactly falls under your title and your role?
Yeah, pretty much anything and everything that involves tickets here with the Charlotte Knights. So whether that's season tickets, group tickets, individual tickets, whether it's setting it all up, selling it, fulfilling it, executing it, pretty much anything tickets.
When it comes to your work, I noticed that you have a passion for what you do, and coming into the ballpark, you enjoy coming in here. Why is it that you enjoy your role, or what about your role do you enjoy that gets you to wake up in the morning and come to the ballpark to work?
Yeah, I would say every day is a challenge, and every day is different, especially in the sports industries. When you look specifically even on a game day, for example, at a baseball game, is you always have different issues, client service issues, challenges, opportunities, get to meet a lot of people. So every day is different is one good way I could say it, but sports is another aspect to it. It really can't be ignored. I really have a passion for sports. And especially in sales, it's important to, if you're in sales, to sell something you feel passionate about. And when you're selling a sports experience, an experience at the ballpark, it really makes it a lot different than selling refrigerators, for example. When you can sell a product that you feel passionate about, it makes it a lot easier.
What qualities do you find that a leader must have?
That's probably the magic bullet answer. That's one of the toughest questions you could ask. And I think I say that because I think everybody's different. Everybody has strengths and weaknesses. Mm-hmm. I think you've got to play off of your strengths. I know that's not necessarily a quality, but one of the things you need to do first is identify both your strengths and your weaknesses. But I would say my number one fundamental rule that I follow, or just number one principle, is lead by example. I feel like if you ask others to do certain tasks or meet daily goals, expectations, is you have to follow those as well. The leaders that don't do the best job or don't attract followers are the ones that think they have the best ideas, have the best principles, but in reality, if you're not going to show those qualities, or if you ask somebody to do something and you're not going to do it yourself, then that's not leading.
Right.
So I really think leading by example is probably my number one philosophy.
Yeah, and I would say for the students that didn't know, Matt used to actually be my manager a few years ago, and one of the things that encouraged me is when he was giving us direction to make calls or to have a personal relationship with our clients, Matt was doing it firsthand. So it wasn't like we didn't have somebody to look up to or had somebody who was telling us to do something that him himself didn't believe in. So
Yeah.
I think that's a huge thing for a leader.
I would say, connecting, and you talked about relationships, and it's, in our industry, it's about relationships with season ticket holders or group leaders or such. But even as a leader, it's about relationships with the people that you're leading. If you're a leader and, you don't develop a relationship with that person or learn more about your employees or the friends that you're leading or the team that you're leading, if you don't take time to connect with each person in that group, you're going to have much more of a struggle. But if you take time to learn who their friends are or when's their birthday, if you can identify when somebody's birthday is, and you just make a point to say happy birthday in the morning, and it'll go a long way. So I really think developing a relationship with each one of the individuals that you're leading is important.
And people watching this may not know, but you guys are the number one sales team in minor league baseball. Got the new ballpark in 2014, which really helped with that, being uptown in Charlotte. But prior to that, you were still the director of sales or in charge of sales in some capacity down in Fort Mill, where attendance kind of struggled down there. Can you talk about the struggles in Fort Mill and going through that, knowing that one day the new ballpark is going to open, but still having to show up to work every day and treating those clients that were in Fort Mill the same as you were going to treat the clients that are going to be joining the team here uptown?
If anything, our time in Fort Mill, I would say it was a lot more, not a lot more, but it was rewarding. Knowing the effort that you put in and the results that can come of it. You know, in Fort Mill, if you were to sit on your hands and not do anything, we weren't going to sell tickets. Here it's a little bit different, where the new ballpark, the environment, the atmosphere, no matter what, people are going to want to come out to see the Charlotte Knights. But in Fort Mill, you kind of had to get that word out there. And it's interesting because in reality, you know, the experience at a baseball game, being with your family, hearing the crack of the bat, smelling popcorn and peanuts, nothing changed from when we were in Fort Mill to here. You know, the experience was still the same. Especially you talked about, you know, our clients and our fan base and our season ticket holders. You know, the season ticket holders in Fort Mill, they were loyal, you know, and that was a great opportunity to sit down with them for a couple innings during a game and just talk to them. You know, there were certain Tuesday nights where there might have been 400 or 500 people in the stands, and, you know, you could get to know everybody a lot better. Here it's just a little bit more challenging every night when you've got 9,000-10,000 people here. To still set that time aside to really connect with our clients, our fans. It's a little bit more challenging here, where back in Fort Mill we had a little bit more freedom. Even the rewards, though, I talked about, you know, it was rewarding down in Fort Mill. It's still rewarding here. And that's what makes my job interesting, challenging, why I feel passionate about it, is as time goes on, the newness of the ballpark is going to wear off. And, you know, we can kind of see that now, but while it's wearing off is now enforcing more of the experience at the ballpark, coming with your family, getting people talking about the first time they went to a baseball game with their kids. So the experience never changes, and that's what we have to focus on more and more moving forward, is minor league baseball and our core principles.
You gave me a book recently about the one thing you can control, and that being your attitude. Yep. For the students out there, our students, people in minor league baseball work a ton of hours. You know, you're here all day and all night. It's easily to let negative things or negative vibes, quote unquote, come in and kind of ruin your day very easily. And if that happens in a game 2 of a 10-game series, you know, the rest of the series is going to be tough. So for our kids, I want them to understand that you can really you know, change your whole day just by having a positive attitude, and really set yourself up for success when it comes to sales, making sales call, being that guy on the phone that people enjoy talking to. So can you talk a little bit about the importance of controlling your attitude when coming to work?
Yeah, and I think, you know, learning more about it, the one thing I realize is everybody, quote unquote, has a bad day, and you shouldn't have a bad day, because you can have bad moments during the day, but it's how you react and respond to those moments. If you, quote unquote, had a bad day, you let yourself have a bad day. You let that negative experience, whatever it was that started that, quote unquote, bad day, you let that carry through the entire day and really affect you. But if you were to take that bad experience or whatever it was that started your day off wrong, or, you know, what made it a bad day, and just kind of flush it, deal with it, respond to it, and even look at that situation and say, well, how can I improve upon it, or how can I spin this around and face this challenge, make it an opportunity, and suddenly take it from a bad day to a great day.
Yeah, and kind of to roll off of that, we all know the golden rule to treat others how you want to be treated.
Oh.
But I've actually...
That's probably my number one other rule, is do unto others as they do unto you.
So I've actually taken that one step higher to make you think a little bit more, is to treat others how they want to be treated. Mm-hmm. So not everybody wants to be, if they do something good, wants to be out in front of a parade or anything like that. Right. Some people prefer phone calls, some prefer text. So that's where getting that relationship and really getting to know the person that you're managing or leading, and knowing how that person wants to be recognized or be talked to or anything like that really comes into play.
No, if you're asking somebody else to get out of their comfort zone, whether it's doing a task or leading the parade and walking down the street, then you have to get out of your own comfort zone.
Right.
You know, you can't just expect somebody to do something and you're not going to do it back. So it's, again, that principle of either lead by example, you know, do unto others as they do unto you. Everything like that, it's basically saying is, if you expect something from someone, then you should be doing the same as well.
And I always ask everybody I interview kind of the one piece of advice for students that are in school who are thinking about what they want to become, or kind of riding the fence of, I can or I can't do it, what would be your one piece of advice to those kids?
Well, earlier we talked about passion, why I love what I do. And I think finding that passion is the most important thing.
Right.
Whether it's what industry you want to get a job in, what you want to do for a career, even where you want to go to school, I think you have to really find that inner passion. So if it's looking at colleges, for example, is, don't go to a college just because it has a name or just because your friends are going there. Do lots of college visits. Really find what you like, because you're ultimately going to be spending a lot of time there. Or whether it's a job, if you're weighing different jobs and one pays more, but the other one is something you really love to do and you want to do for the rest of your career, ultimately your productivity, your daily attitude, everything is going to be impacted on the positive side if you're doing something that you truly love to do.
Right. And lastly, I said that was going to be my last question, but now that I'm thinking, I want people to know the importance that every job deserves your best, even if it's not the specific role that you dreamt of or imagine yourself doing. In order to get where you want to be in your current role, you still have to show up and give 100% every day. One, you need the reference for the person to be able to do it, but two, I'm a firm believer, when you do your best and you're putting in the hard work, the universe will reward you. You may be looking for another job, but you still have to show up and do your best in your current role. So has that ever happened to you, where maybe you had a role you didn't really want, but you worked really hard and then that paid off for you later?
I mean, I could give you a specific example, but I would say ultimately another one of my core principles is that hard work pays off.
Yep.
No matter what, as much work as you put into it, even if you don't think it's being recognized, it really is. So I really do believe hard work pays off. I'd say in the past couple months, I've actually started studying a lot more college football coaches for leadership principles. And Nick Saban, for example, is one great example. Even the University of Alabama football is a great example. Think of how many good players are on that team.
Right.
And if you look back at the last national championship game, their starting quarterback really struggled.
Right.
Well, that backup quarterback, I doubt he had any idea that he was ever going to lead that team to a national championship.
Right.
But if he didn't go in with the mindset that I have to practice like I am a starting quarterback, I have to learn the playbook, I have to do everything I'm doing just like I am the starting quarterback.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And of course, what happens is he gets put in the game, he leads them to the national championship.
Right.
So that's a great example of just, you never know what kind of situation you'll be put into. Even in a work environment, if somebody leaves the organization or you need to fulfill a role, is if you can be in a position to step up, that's where you're going to make your gains. So you always kind of have to think one step ahead, but you also have to be prepared to be put in that situation where you can step up.
Great. Awesome. Well, you guys heard it right here from Matt Millward himself. I really look up to this guy here. He had a huge positive impact on my life and where I am now. So take his words, to heart, and really use them for your studying and for your future as well too. He's the director of sales for the #1 minor league baseball team for a reason. So listen to his words and remember what he said is we can control our attitude, we can show up and give our best, and when you lead by example, right?
And passion. Find something you're passionate about. The minute you find, whether it's a job, a school, an activity, a hobby, is follow your passions.
Perfect. Thank you. See you guys.